FedEx full, we command in the block. Burgundy and gold, got the city on lock. Hustling plays, ain't no need to pretend. DC reppin' strong and we fight to the end. Commanders moving, no breaks, no pause. Hands in the dirt, respecting the call. K-Dot and the myth, dissect the grind. District divider with a city in mind. Join the damn squad, don't miss a bit. And you gotta spread the word, so shit is shit. K-Dot.
Welcome, everyone, to District Divided, a DC sports podcast. More specifically, a Washington Commanders podcast. I am Amit. That is K-Dot. We are here live very late on a Wednesday night, so if you show up, welcome. If not, it's fine. It'll be on YouTube right after this. But we need to talk about Von Miller being signed by the Washington Commanders on a one-year deal. Very exciting news. We've got plenty of thoughts on Terry McLaurin, by the way. Trey Amos a little bit as well. We got an episode coming out Friday, 2 p.m. We really deep dive into Terry McLaurin and this whole thing. So we'll definitely talk about that. But this is all about Von Miller. K-Dot, your reaction to the signing, one-year deal. The news just broke about half an hour ago.
Let's go Super Bowl chasing. Now it's everybody here in Washington had the one thing on their list that everybody was universally, I guess, upset with, or maybe not upset, but it was on everybody's wish list, was the pass rusher. I mean, everybody, or the Myles Garrett thing early on in the offseason, and the Trey Hendrickson situation that still hasn't resolved itself. Now they even got another issue, or whatever. We just wanted to see them address it, I guess, to some degree. And the Von Miller signing to me is like a perfect addressing of that situation. I mean, if I'm looking at who it is we lost last year going into this year, I don't know about you guys, but even at 36 years old, which is not old, you sons of bitches, I am 1 month older than Von Miller, and I don't want to hit shit. I'm still a spring chicken. Upgrade over Dante Fowler. That's in my opinion. That's just what it is. He's still been a menace in his situational pass rushing the last few seasons. So, I mean, if I was looking at him compared to Dante Fowler, there's pretty much that's what I'm kind of looking at more than anything, in the sense of could we make up the production we got last year as far as that 10 sacks with Dante? And I look at this and say, yeah, I think so. I think Von's got enough left in the tank. I don't think they're going to be asking him to do everything. It's just going to be a situation where, hey, you look at the guys that they have in terms of versatility and in terms of having guys that'll be really good at one or two things to be able to really utilize them. Von Miller, I think, is peak that.
K-Dot, here's the thing. Like you're saying, it's going to be situational. If we look at his numbers in Buffalo the past 3 seasons, he's got 14 sacks. It was 8 sacks, then 0, then 6 sacks. And then the tackles is 21, 3, and 17, respectively. So that's situational. That screams situational. Makes total sense. Dante Fowler hit double-digit sacks last season for us, which is great. But in terms of presence, right, that Von Miller brings to the table, also leadership in that locker room. Another guy that people are like, holy shit, that's Von Miller. There is a certain amount of cachet and a certain amount of presence that the man has that is going to help. And it also signals a shift to, this is the first time, K-Dot, I've seen somebody come here to ring chase.
Yep.
Right? That is something that we have never experienced before. Having ring chasers come over here, certainly in the Josh Harris era, but all the way back to the Snyder era, right? The Yotbich era. This is a shift already in what happens when you hit on that rookie quarterback. You have the rookie deal. We don't have details on how much money this is for the 1-year deal. We just know that it's a 1-year deal, so we'll see what happens. It should not affect Terry McLaurin's deal at all because Terry's already under contract for this year. So just to be clear there, but moving forward, again, we will touch on Terry in our episode coming out Friday, 2 p.m. But it signals a shift, K-Dot, and we are really going for it this year specifically.
I think there's some degree of that, but I also think that if you look at our particular situation, it would be one that if I was looking around the league, or Lord knows what I would actually do if I was a professional athlete, but I'd look at this particular situation and say, if I'm looking across the landscape of the league, this one feels like a good one. And if you're Von Miller, be able to play on this, to me, it's one of those things where, from over the hill gang sort of say, if you were to tell me that I'd be looking at a defense with Bobby Wagner and Von Miller next to each other on it, what? 10 years ago, have you lost your mind? What are you talking about?
Right.
That's fantasy football level shit. There is a degree of hey, we made it to the NFC Championship game last year. And if you're looking around and you want to be one of those mercenary types, Are you going to find, I mean, you might find some better situations, but are you going to find better situations going to utilize you at the clip that we might utilize you? Like I was looking at the snap count for Von Miller the last 2 years. I think from a percentage standpoint, 32 and 33% respectively. As far far cry away from what it is they've ever asked from before. Like I would think that might increase to a certain degree here in this particular situation. I just look at what they need in the sense of if we're looking at everything that they've signed as far as this offseason in bolstering or getting bigger on the defensive line, there was still an angle of who was it that was going to be that pass rush specialist. Was it going to be Frankie Louvu? Was it going to be the other guys we signed? I think at least a significant portion of that just got answered. And Miller, you get paid to go somewhere where you got Dan Quinn and Joe Witt, who are apparently lovely to play for. Right. You got Bobby Wagner, who's there, so you don't necessarily need to be the champion of anything from a leadership standpoint, but you also have a situation where people are going to listen to you. You're gonna hold some weight in this fucking locker room. Like I just think it would be ring chasing to me from this standpoint of perspective if we were to make the trade for Von Miller or something like that, kind of along the lines of like the Marshawn Lattimore thing. I just think this looks like it works out. Like as far as from a mercenary pass rush standpoint, I just think this is one of those things that like if Von looks, hey, you guys got any interest in me? And if you're Washington with who it is they sign or not sign in the offseason, if it makes sense financially, yeah, it just makes sense.
Makes total sense. And now when you look at that defensive line, you've got Dorrance Armstrong, who's going to be primarily on that left defensive end. You've got Dietrich Wise on the other side, potentially with Deron Payne and Javon Kinlaw, presumably down the middle with Johnny Newton rotating in. Now you add Von Miller to it, and it's another piece where looking at his sacks last year in Buffalo, it was all against the right tackle on that left side. So you would expect that, hey, if it's working, just stay there. If that's where you feel most comfortable, that's fine. We don't need to disguise this. You're Von Miller, right? He won, I think his pass rush win rate was second across the NFL. So like he still got it when he's in. This is a big signing from that perspective. When you look at the advanced analytics, people go, oh, he's 35 years old. He's over the hill. He still is impactful, and he still makes plenty of plays. So when you see the 8 sacks, you see the 6 sacks, you go, okay, well, add some context to it. He's not always on the field as he's gotten older. So it's going to make a big difference over there and allows Dorrance to go a bit harder on first, second down. If you go, okay, you're going to sit out now. Von's coming in. He's rotating in now. So it changes the way even he can think about first and second down and how he's attacking on defense. And it's just, this is the type of guy that closes games for you, right? This is the type of dude who it's third down, game's on the line. He'll make that play for you. It's a sack. It's either a field goal or a punt, or he forces a fumble. Been a while since he's done that, just to be clear. But that is something that he brings to the table. This is a big signing as I think more about it, K-Dot. This is very, very exciting.
That's exciting. I mean, that's the thing is like, I look at Von Miller and I say, you can plug in a lot of those guys that we've talked about on this offseason. You look at any one of the offseason wish lists that we've had, and we had pass rushers on there. And I think me and you have always come from the standpoint of like, if they didn't draft, it would be a move like this or Desarius Smith or somebody that they would have as far as a veteran pass rusher to kind of get in the building. So I think from an X's and O's standpoint, yeah, you should like this. There's no reason your team got better from yesterday to today, period, point blank, in my opinion. Like that's just what it is. And if we're also talking about, I know that I'm saying that like when it comes to Bobby Wagner stuff, you don't have to be the leader dog inside in the clubhouse, but I do think that another good portion of what Dan Quinn and those guys have been doing, we're already the oldest team in the National Football League as far from an average standpoint.
That we are.
28. Do you add a 36-year-old does not help the average, but what it does do when you talk about that culture setting, when you're talking about the guys that might be able to impart that wisdom on the younger classes, like this to me is what this is. I really couldn't ask for a better signing along those lines that wouldn't have cost us an absolute arm and a leg from a trade standpoint. There just wasn't a whole lot out there. And if I'm getting Von Miller just from a leadership perspective alone, I'd do that in a heartbeat. I just didn't think, I mean, up until seeing what happened last year, he just wasn't on our radar. But he's always been somebody that I've been circling. Same way I'm begging somebody to get Aaron Donald to get his ass back in the fucking league. I just think that it's Ndamukong Suh is probably the dude that did it first, or at least did it in a higher profile thing in the sense of like the mercenary guy, the guy that's just going to come in and like, all right, I'm a ring chase for you. Mike, yeah, man. Like that's the thing is like, this is nice. And I think we should feel good as far as like what's happening with Von. But at the end of the day, the only thing that anybody really gives two shits about here in Washington at this particular point is sign the man.
Honestly, I'm just going to keep that up because it's also true. It's the Von Miller signing. And also what's on everyone's mind is paying Terry.
Hey,
And
man.
once again, we will give
Wow.
our full thoughts on it.
Wow.
We will give our full thoughts on it
Wow.
when we record tomorrow and then drop it Friday, 2 p.m. I do a bit of data analytics and dive into other people Terry's age and how they did. And it was their 6th league year, but we'll get to that a little bit later.
No, I'm sure the current administration looked into data analytics about the whole Epstein thing. Look at how it worked out.
Oh, Jesus Christ. But look at the I want to also mention one other thing, which is that Alfred Collins signed with the San Francisco 49ers, 2nd round pick. Now you might be like, why the hell did this just make the show? Right. But the reason it makes the show is because the 2nd round picks so far that it signed were fully guaranteed contracts. This is the first one that was not. Trey Amos has not signed yet, and rookies report in 2 days.
Mhm.
This is expected to be the domino. So we've talked about Von Miller, and now it's Trey Amos. I think you can expect to get done pretty quickly now. They were just waiting for a domino to fall. That gets done. And then, like Mike's saying, now pay Terry, right? And again, we will talk plenty about that.
Yes,
K-Dot.
we will.
Any final thoughts here on Von Miller before we wrap up and we drop that Friday 2 p.m. episode there?
It's a slam dunk. And if you're online and you got to deal with the motherfuckers talking about the whole over the hill gang bit or all the, I know what's probably making the rounds right now is that what the damn commercial with Dan Marino and Jerry Rice and all of them, they
Oh,
shoot
right.
back up. Yeah, that's going to be one of those things. And I tell you right now, like anybody can try to look, there's one thing where we were the laughing stock of this league going back how many seasons? This is not the case now. Flex, baby. You can flex. Don't be afraid. Fight back. They'll be worth it. It'll be worth it. This Von Miller signing, I think, is worth it. As Jerry right there said, it is a great signing as far from the situation pass rush. And if we're looking at what happened last year to this year, we have been on the margins, baby, like right there on the margins. And when you talk about playing a game like that, and there's no reason to say it might not be the same way this year as far as the cardiac kids, and as far as what JD5 really shines in. What you do want is you want baller, you want playmakers that can change the time. You can just change the tide of a game with the one play. Von Miller is one of those dudes that qualify. On offense, Debo Samuel is one of those dudes that qualify. I like that they're finding some guys that are closers. They're finding dudes that can absolutely take it and just give us another shot compared to what it is we have got. Look, last year, a bunch of journeyman veteran guys, and it worked out. Let's get some veteran future Hall of Fame guys. Let's see if that works out too.
I can't believe we haven't even mentioned it yet. Von Miller's been there, done that in terms of he's a Super Bowl champion, right? So that's just another layer to it as well. Not only is he a great situational pass rusher and somebody that's going to win according to the advanced analytics, even now at age 36, but that Super Bowl championship experience and pedigree is going to help when you get to an NFC championship game, for example, or you're trying to make that deep playoff run and get over the hump. I can't believe we're even talking about getting over the hump already after just 1 year, but that's what you're doing with something like this is you're trying to help your younger guys, but you're trying to win right now. And could that affect other moves? If we're trying to win right now, obviously that's going to include some other people. Maybe they wear number 17. But again, I've alluded to it many times. We'll talk about it then. So one final round, K-Dot. Any thoughts here before we close out?
I'm stoked. Is he going to wear that 24?
I don't know.
I will say,
I hope not.
When I was making the art for it, so on his Instagram, he does that, and there's a picture of Champ Bailey at the end, which makes sense. Yeah. Denver Days, Champ probably means a lot to when we get what it is. That is off-putting seeing 24 pass rushing. I'm just going to.
I also think you could have photoshopped something better.
Well, I will say, I'm not going to lie. After I created the thumbnail, I had a moment of panic where I was like, is Champ Bailey on the cover? I had to go back and zoom in. I was like, oh, yeah, that's in New Jersey. That's all right.
Yeah, it was something. But anyway, this was our reaction to the Von Miller signing. Allusions to the Terry McLaurin episode that will be coming out Friday, 2 p.m. And Trey Amos, expect him to sign now that Alfred Collins has been signed in San Francisco. That's the 43rd overall pick. Trey Amos behind that, of course. And so he will now take not fully guaranteed money, but mostly guaranteed money, which seems to be the trend with second round picks this year. So thank you guys for listening. I'm Amit. That is K-Dot. And as always, if you could please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, comment as you always do. And K-Dot.
You got to share that shit, baby. You got to share it. No raps, no fancy shit. Just share this gospel. Do it. You know you want to. You know you want to. Don't be a little bitch. Just share it.
And hey, we appreciate you guys. There are plenty of other people doing even more extensive or longer Von Miller
Not
lives.
as good as us.
Go over there, obviously. But until then, we will see you guys Friday, 2 p.m. So take it easy, everybody, and congrats on Von Miller.
Bye, everybody.
In DC, we're just hoping that you listen.